Welcome to Kansas Ag Report with your host, Bryan Hallman.
Welcome to Kansas Ag Report. I'm Bryan Hallman, and here's our lineup for today's show. In Ag News, we'll take a look at local and national headlines affecting Kansas farmers. In our Ag Feature, we sit down with Justin Gilpin from Kansas Wheat to get his thoughts on wheat harvest. Inside Kansas Ag has insight from Chris Haverkamp of Paragon Ag on marketing grain. In the news you need to know, we have our weekly update from the Kansas Livestock Association. We'll look back at last week's market activity with the guys from Paragon, and we'll let you know about important events coming up around the state of Kansas. Glad you could join us.
Closed captioning brought to you by Dick Edwards in Manhattan, selling America's #1 truck, the Ford F-150, for over 30 years. DickEdwardsAuto.com.
Kansas Soybean Commission, the Soybean Checkoff. Progress powered by Kansas farmers. kansassoybeans.org.
Ag Risk Solutions. Experience, knowledge, integrity. Your crop insurance solution, Ag Risk Solutions. Dick Edwards Auto Plaza in Junction City, home of this year's Motor Trend Truck of the Year, Ram Truck. DickEdwardsAuto.com.
Here's our national headlines for this week in Ag News. World agricultural supply and demand estimates raised the 2014 milk production estimate 100 million pounds to 206 billion, citing more cows and milk production along with lower feed costs as contributors to the increase. The 2015 estimate was also raised by 100 million pounds to 212.5 billion. The USDA is proposing to reduce the Cattlemen's Beef Board from 103 to 100 members. Due to a decline in cattle numbers since 2011, the number of domestic cattle producers on the board could decline from 96 to 94 in both seats coming from Texas, and importer representation would drop from 7 to 6. The proposed changes would take effect in early 2015. The American Angus Association welcomes Dr. Dan Mosier as its new president of Angus Genetics, Inc. Mosier was selected unanimously by the AGI Board of Directors and will oversee genetic research and development efforts. Dr. Mosier is a native Kansan and a K-State alum. Congratulations to Dr. Mosier on this prestigious appointment. And in local news, the 2014 Kansas corn crop is forecasted at 544 million bushels, 7% above 2013's production, and yield is projected to reach 145 bushels per acre, that's up 18 bushels. Forecast for grain sorghum in Kansas is at 187 million bushels, up 13% from last year, and yield forecasts are at 72 bushels per acre, which is up 13 bushels. The Kansas soybean crop is projected at 151 million bushels, up 18% from 2013, but its yield forecasts are unchanged at 36 bushels per acre. The Kansas Department of Health and Environment has estimated that the EPA's proposed Waters of the U.S. rule would expand defined stream miles in Kansas from just above 30,000 to over 134,000. One way of achieving this is by including ditches in the definition of tributary. Under the new federal rule, performing routine land-use activities near any ditch within jurisdiction would now require a federal permit. Many agricultural groups in Kansas are very concerned and are working to have the rule withdrawn or substantially altered. Grain growers in western Kansas who plan to campaign for a 2015 seat on one of the state's 5 grain commodity commissions should be preparing now to meet the November 30th filing deadline. To be eligible, the candidate must have actively engaged in growing corn, grain sorghum, soybeans, wheat, or sunflowers within the preceding 3 years and must gather 20 signatures from eligible voters to be included on the ballot. More information is available by contacting KDA at 785-564-6700 or visit agriculture.ks.gov. Up next in our Ag Feature, we sit down with Justin Gilpin from Kansas Wheat to get his thoughts on wheat harvest. You're watching Kansas Ag Report. Please stay tuned.
This segment brought to you by Grass and Grain, online or in the mail, keeping Kansas farmers informed for over 60 years. GrassandGrain.com.
A.B. Flint Motor Company, selling quality used cars and trucks in southeast Topeka. at 32nd and South Kansas Avenue. Integrity Gun and Pawn, 2 Topeka locations specializing in firearms and training. igpawn.com to learn more. Kansas Weed Commission, leaders in the adoption of profitable innovations for weeds. Online at kswheat.com.
The Red Hot Summer Sales event is going on now at Dick Edwards in Manhattan, and you have never seen a selection of America's best lineup like this before. We've got year-end sales pricing right now on Ford, Lincoln, and Mazda. You won't want to miss 0% interest on select models, top dollar for your trade, and if we don't have what you're looking for, we'll get it. The Red Hot Summer Sales event is going on now at Dick Edwards in Manhattan, 2 miles east of the Town Center Mall on Highway 24.
American innovation is being driven in places you might not expect by people like Brent Hayek, an Oklahoma family farmer who recently set a world land speed record in a Ford Super Duty pickup truck powered by renewable B20 biodiesel. Advanced performance is here, now, putting America on the fast track to more jobs and energy independence. Biodiesel, America's advanced biofuel.
At Ag Risk Solutions, we have been helping our clients make better crop insurance decisions since 1981. We always focus on helping you find the best coverage options for your farm, and it will give you peace of mind knowing you have a partner you can trust. To learn more about our agency, please visit our website, like us on Facebook, or follow us on Twitter. Ag Risk Solutions. Experience, knowledge, integrity. Your crop insurance solution.
Ag Risk Solutions is an equal opportunity provider.
Your summer starts at Dick Edwards Auto Plaza. Hit the beach, hit the mountains, hit the trails in the all-new Jeep Wrangler. Jeeps are made for fun, and that's just what you'll have when you slip behind the wheel. Turn the key and start your adventure. Isn't it time you hit the open road? Drop the top. It's time for smiles from coast to coast in America's legendary pony car, the Ford Mustang. Experience the power, the excitement, and the thrills that only a Mustang can bring. Get out and enjoy summer the way it was meant to be. Dick Edwards Auto Plaza, I-70 and Highway 77 in Junction City.
Here at Blue River Traders, we have the greatest selection of rustic and western furniture in Kansas.
At Blue River Traders, you can select from an inventory of rustic lodge or western furnishings. With a designer on hand, Blue River Traders will help create the look you desire.
Justin, thanks for joining us this morning.
Always good to be with you, Brian.
Harvest is over. It's a little late. We're at the first part of August, and it's just kind of finally winding down.
Well, it certainly has been one of those years. Yeah, when you think back about the challenges that this crop has had the whole time, that is from the very beginning, last fall. We had some moisture to get started, but things really started to dry up going into winter dormancy. And then after we broke dormancy this spring, the drought conditions that we suffered, not only in Kansas, but in southeast Colorado, the Oklahoma Panhandle, Texas Panhandle, that was really the story of the Southern Plains for the hard red winter wheat crop this year. And then to have some freeze damage that happened in May, just almost everything that could be thrown at this crop but the kitchen sink seemed to happen. And then June happened with all of the rains that came. And you never want to complain about getting some rain, but it was just really difficult for that wheat crop to get, once it was kind of ripe and ready to be harvested, to get all those rains, and it really delayed and prolonged things. So it was definitely a challenging year for hard red winter wheat farmers in the Southern Plains this year, and we're hoping for better prospects for next year.
Well, if you look at what the price has done in the last a little while, you'd think that we've had a major harvest, that we've had a bumper harvest, but we really haven't.
Right. That's we've had that question brought up several times. When you look at this year's production, it's probably going to be the worst production, lowest production the state of Kansas has had since 1989. So when we're looking at that low production, and in Texas and Oklahoma both are going to be down in production, the thought process is, well, if it's a short crop, it's going to be in pretty high demand. But just like, no man is an island, no grain is an island, we're being affected by corn and beans prices. And so everything that was difficult for that wheat harvest right during June has been really good growing conditions for corn and soybeans. And so as we're seeing the good prospects for the corn and soybean crops, and the market's really taking that in effect, we've seen pretty sharp decline in prices here the last 60 days. And also we're starting to see some prospects for good spring wheat crops in the northern states. And so that's something that farmers need to be aware of and be thinking about when they're making their marketing decisions for this year, is that we were kind of ground zero, unfortunately, for the drought conditions and the short production this year, and the market's really being dictated by some other things. What it is doing is creating some opportunities for our export buyers, and so what we really got to do is focus hard on that export business, get that demand side going, and hopefully that'll help kind of pick things up for us, and maybe we've reached a short-term bottom here in the near term and get some export demand going.
Well, in the short time that we have in our first segment here, it's important that we get these buyers into the state, show them what we've got, and make sure they understand that we still have got great wheat.
That's for sure, Brian. Even though we have a short crop this year, we have a good protein, good milling, good end performance crop, and we're all going to be able to meet their needs when they come to the U.S. to buy their wheat.
Well, we're going to take a quick break, and when we come back, we're going to visit with Justin about maybe planning for next fall, what we should be doing for the winter crop next year. You're watching Kansas Ag Report, and we'll see you in just a minute.
This segment brought to you by Oldie Seed Farms, carrying soil-specific seed. Find them on the web at oldieseed.com. That's OHLDE seed.com. Farmers Insurance, your best protection against the unexpected. Call Agent Dan Key at 785-408-5459. Grass and Grain, online or in the mail, keeping Kansas farmers informed for over 60 years. grassandgrain.com. Blue River Traders, the finest selection of Western-style furniture for your home. BlueRiverTraders.com.
We're back with Justin over at the Wheat Innovation Center, and Justin, it's never too early to really start thinking about planting this fall. I mean, we're about 40 days out, I guess, somewhere around in there, from getting some seeds into the ground.
Right, and when we start thinking about fall seeding for wheat, there's a lot of things that we have going for us in the Southern Plains this year that we haven't had maybe the last 5 years. We've started these rains we've gotten this summer out in western Kansas, and the panhandles have begun to replenish some of that topsoil moisture that we haven't had in a while, and so we have good fall crops that are coming. It's exciting to start thinking about the opportunities that we might have for as far as getting that wheat seed in the ground and getting a crop stand established. And even though we had a difficult year this past year, hopefully there's going to be some good prospects and opportunities for the crop coming. There's definitely some things that farmers are going to need to be thinking about. When we do have a short crop like we had, we also had some weed pressure right at the end of harvest that kind of caused things to drag on a little bit, where farmers or co-ops had to come in and kind of spray some fields and wait for that residual to kill off the weeds before we can get in and harvest that seed. So there's a lot of things that farmers need to take into consideration as far as seed germination and seed vitality to make sure that they have the best seed that they can get. There's a lot of, Kansas and the Central Plains here have some of the strongest certified seed producer networks around, that if a guy needs to go out and source some certified seed, that might be, there's going to be a lot of good options for them with good varieties. Several of the good varieties we saw performance this year, again, Everest from Kansas State University was a top performing. Westbred had another good variety called Cedar that had good performance. Oklahoma's had some solid varieties coming out, so we feel good about our variety package that's out there. That's given us good diversity to kind of combat the different challenges that the crops could face. But we'd like to see those guys go out and encourage them to talk to certified seed producers to find the best option for them.
We've got about a minute left. Fall, I mean, your staff and you, I mean, you guys have a kind of a tough job coming into fall.
Well, when you think about what our priorities are going to be going into this fall, it's really going to be going after and drumming up that export business. We've got a good story to tell about wheat that's grown in hard red winter wheat country and the Southern Plains of the United States. Even though we had a difficult year, we have a crop that's going to be it's going to have good performance, good strength. And so we need to get out and get that customers in here, let them know that even though they hear about the short crop, that we are going to have wheat for them to buy, and we are a reliable choice in the world marketplace for their wheat. And the other things that we'll be working on here is, that's the research initiatives happening at the Kansas Wheat Innovation Center. You have a year like we've had this last year, it really emphasizes the importance for improved genetics so that we can survive drought and heat tolerance and all of those things that are challenges that farmers are facing. And we look at the next generation of varieties and genetics coming. We're excited about it and excited about the role that Kansas Wheat Innovation Center is going to play.
Today we're joined by Chris Haverkamp from Paragon. Normally we get Chris and his group for about 90 seconds. Today we're going to spend a little more time with Chris because it's extremely important about kind of the state of where grains are here in the state of Kansas. Chris, thanks for joining us this morning.
Absolutely.
I would imagine that grain farmers across the state are probably having this type of conversation, sitting at a dining room table or a table and talking to their ag advisor, about what they should be doing come fall.
Right. Well, you know, the hard question is, are the lows in? The markets have stalled here over the course of the last 30 days or so, especially in the corn market. And the USDA actually gave us reason to pause and feel like we might be able to turn the market back up again. But what's interesting is in that August report, a lot of times we can be fooled. By the time that grain stocks report comes out at the end of September, the numbers are calculated a little more finitely. And as a result, the USDA tends to make large crops larger. And that is where the old saying, big crops get bigger, come from. So we have to be a little careful in this corn complex. Now, we're not raging bears at this stage of the game. And it really feels like corn wants to be a follower of maybe the soybeans more than make a move on their own right. Corn is basically made across the country. There's not going to be huge variations unless we went into a real wet period and we can't get that crop out. But ultimately, the corn crop is made, and it's the soybeans that have the biggest question mark behind them. So they are taking the front and center stage at this point in time.
When we're talking about soybeans, we're talking about old crop. We've got a ton of old crop on hand. How important is it that we get those moved? China is a big player in that situation. Get those moved because we know we're going to have a record yield as far as soybeans go, not only in Kansas but across the U.S.
Yeah, even if you were a big soybean bull and you thought there were going to be some major problems later this year, the premiums that they have currently on the old crop beans really should be sold into. So in this case, if you were sitting on old crop beans, there's no reason to hold on to them at this stage of the game. You really should be moving them with the current premiums that there are out there. Now, if we can get to the finish line on these new crop beans and we don't have any weather threats, again, too much rain at harvest or frost, you know, the bean complex as a whole feels like it's going to be very heavy. 940, 950 is what's being tossed around in the grain trade. And if that occurs, obviously corn is going to follow suit. So the soybeans at this point in time still have a high degree of downside left available to them.
We've got about 20 seconds left. Takeaway right now. What should people be thinking about as we start putting combines in the field?
If you have on-farm storage capabilities, plan to store the corn crop. There's the most carry in that particular crop, whereas beans, there is very little carry. So takeaway today is plan to store corn versus soybeans. Hope for a basis improvement after the first of the year.
And we want to remind everybody to find you guys on your website.
Absolutely. www.myagadvisor.com.
This segment brought to you by Oldie Seed Farms, carrying soil-specific seed. Find them on the web at oldieseed.com. That's OHLDE seed.com. A.B. Flint Motor Company, selling quality used cars and trucks in southeast Topeka at 32nd and South Kansas Avenue. Integrity Gun and Pawn, 2 Topeka locations specializing in firearms and training. igpawn.com to learn more. Impact Satellite, your local authorized DirecTV dealer. Impact Satellite at 785-554-5974.
Imagine having someone help you pick the best corn hybrids for every field on your farm. Your Oldie representative can combine your data with his data to offer a field-by-field prescription. Contact Oldie Seed today at 877-692-4555.
Your summer starts at Dick Edwards Auto Plaza. Hit the beach, hit the mountains, hit the trails in the all-new Jeep Wrangler. Jeeps are made for fun, and that's just what you'll have when you slip behind the wheel. Turn the key and start your adventure. Isn't it time you hit the open road? Drop the top. It's time for smiles from coast to coast in America's legendary pony car, the Ford Mustang. Experience the power, the excitement, and the thrills that only a Mustang can bring. Get out and enjoy summer the way it was meant to be. Dick Edwards Auto Plaza, I-70 and Highway 77 in Junction City.
Tammy the Pro Home Plus is all about providing warmth and kindness to aging individuals who find it difficult to live on their own. Tammy's team is made up of experienced caregivers and nurses committed to the highest level of individualized care, focusing on health and well-being, and assisting with nutrition, grooming, medications, therapies, and daily living needs, all in a warm, caring environment. Call Tammy the Pro Home Plus today at 785-383-7094 to learn how we can help.
The producer-funded Kansas Wheat Innovation Center was built to get improved varieties into the hands of farmers faster. Kansas Wheat, farmers advancing their future through wheat genetics research.
The Red Hot Summer Sales event is going on now at Dick Edwards in Manhattan, and you have never seen a selection of America's best lineup like this before. We've got year-end sales pricing right now on Ford, Lincoln, and Mazda. You won't want to miss 0% interest on select models, top dollar for your trade, and if we don't have what you're looking for, we'll get it. The Red Hot Summer Sales event is going on now at Dick Edwards in Manhattan, 2 miles east of the Town Center Mall on Highway 24.
This hog is head over hoof for meal made from U.S. soybeans. Now, one hog isn't that impressive, but suppose we add another, and another, and another. Before long, you've got billions of hungry customers around the world all clamoring for the same thing. Our soybeans. Learn more about the billion-dollar appetite of animal agriculture at BeyondTheElevator.com. Brought to you by America's soybean farmers and their checkoff.
Since 1983, the Hydrobed has been utilized on cattle operations throughout North America. The Hydrobed equips your 3/4 or 1-ton truck for hay handling and feeding. Variable speed cable controls or the optional wireless remote enable you to haul, transport, and unroll 2 round bales weighing up to 3,000 pounds each. A mechanical free float automatically compensates for uneven ground and out-of-round bales, isolating you and the truck from impact of bale unrolling. To find out how the Hydrobed can improve your feeding efficiency, call or visit us on the web at triple-c-inc.com.
KLA CEO Dee Likes will assume the title of KLA Chief Executive Emeritus December 31st of 2014 and will remain employed by KLA in an advisory role to work on future initiatives. He joined the KLA staff in 1976. In January 1984, he was named CEO of the 5,500-member trade association. Key state legislative victories under his leadership include the adoption of use value appraisal for calculating property taxes on ag land, the exemption of farm machinery, replacement parts, and labor from sales tax, and the removal of farm machinery and livestock from the property tax rolls. Likes' influence extends to the national level, where his experience was key in facilitating major initiatives with the National Cattlemen's Beef Association. As the current senior NCBA affiliate organization CEO, he played a part in helping create the national $1 per head beef checkoff in 1985 and worked behind the scenes during the 1996 merger between the National Cattlemen's Association and the Beef Industry Council of the National Livestock and Meat Board. The merger was the beginning of NCBA, an organization that has helped unify the beef industry and move it forward. A search is underway to find a suitable candidate to fill the KLA Chief Executive position. Interested individuals are encouraged to email job description requests and resumes to jobsearch@kla.org before September 5th.
Good morning. I'm Eric Osterhaus with Paragon Ag. Looking first at the corn market, we've seen corn basically trading within a 15-cent range for the last month as the competing news of steady to strong demand fundamentals have been offset by the good growing conditions across the majority of the Corn Belt. It feels as if the market is set up for a little push to the upside, provided we can get any positive news here in the near term, whether it's fundamental or technical, especially if we can get that news before harvest begins ramping up in the southern Corn Belt. There is also some support due to the lower than expected USDA FSA acre estimates. But we'll likely need more than this in order to achieve a sustained rally. Otherwise, expect any rallies in corn to be relatively shallow. Soybeans have continued to drift, but seem reluctant to move aggressively lower due to our tight U.S. old crop supply. Plus the fact that Iowa, Illinois, Indiana, and Ohio did miss some of the predicted rains over the last week. The USDA FSA estimate of enrolled acres did cause some analysts to lower their acreage estimate by about 1.5 million acres, But the general consensus is that this reduction may be a little overdone. Exports and demand for beans continue to be relatively strong, but the current production estimates provide a lot of overhead resistance. If you have any questions over these markets or any markets, call Paragon Ag at 888-452-8751. Have a productive week.
Closed captioning brought to you by Dick Edwards in Manhattan, selling America's #1 truck, the Ford F-150, for over 30 years. DickEdwardsAuto.com.
Kansas Soybean Commission, the Soybean Checkoff. Progress powered by Kansas farmers. kansassoybeans.org.
Ag Risk Solutions. Experience, knowledge, integrity. Your crop insurance solution, Ag Risk Solutions. Dick Edwards Auto Plaza in Junction City, home of this year's Motor Trend Truck of the Year, Ram Truck. DickEdwardsAuto.com.
Well, that's our show for today. I hope you'll join us each week for more news and information about agriculture in the state of Kansas. I'm Bryan Hallman, and thanks for watching.
Here at Blue River Traders, we have the greatest selection of rustic and western furniture in Kansas.
At Blue River Traders, you can select from an inventory of rustic lodge or western furnishings. With a designer on hand, Blue River Traders will help create the look you desire.
Imagine having someone help you pick the best corn hybrids for every field on your farm. Your Oldie representative can combine your data with his data to offer a field-by-field prescription. Contact Oldie Seed today at 877-692-4555.
Tammy the Pro Home Plus is all about providing warmth and kindness to aging individuals who find it difficult to live on their own. Tammy's team is made up of experienced caregivers and nurses committed to the highest level of individualized care, focusing on health and well-being, and assisting with nutrition, grooming, medications, therapies, and daily living needs, all in a warm, caring environment. Call Tammy the Pro Home Plus today at 785-383-7094 to learn how we can help.